Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Korean automotive manufacturer Hyundai has handed over a fuel cell iX35 vehicle to global mining business Anglo American. Fuel cell cars will stimulate future demand for platinum. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer tells us more. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
Now, the fuel cell electric vehicle will allow platinum mining to build its future in a truly sustainable way. Can you elaborate on that?
You know, we've been waiting for this fuel cell in the car for decades. You know, the old Anglo Platinum and Barry Davison would always be saying the next 5 years it'll be here, the next 5 years, and go on like that. But now it is happening. And we can see that, you know, you draw your gas, presumably, if you're using hydrogen, this is a hydrogen economy they're talking about, from the atmosphere. There's an abundant supply of it, so you're assured of that if provided you use the right technology. And at the same time, you've got ongoing business. You're keeping emissions out of the air, and this is what the world wants at the moment. So it seems like, you know, the answer to a maiden's prayer, you know, that you can have these cars that have zero emission, and they bring in a new energy source, and they make use of hydrogen, which is an abundant supply. And we've got the mines. And we know that platinum can't be consumed, really. So you've got to have a strong market, like a car market and a decentralized electricity market in homes, you know, where they take a lot of demand. Because I think the recycling factor has become a big issue, which has pushed the price down, and also people storing it on surface, of course, knowing that there are going to be problems with platinum, or presuming because of the strike. So we're still impacted from that price-wise. So you need to go hammer and tongs into marketing, and here, you know, you've got this build-up. People are starting to make cars that are, I say, not hydrogen-powered, they're platinum-powered, because, you know, we have got to look at the platinum side. So at last, we see Hyundai coming through, you know, and it's a wonderful thing.
Now, what sort of platinum demand could the industry see if fuel cell cars overtook or rather succeed in dominating the electric car market?
Well, there's still a big fight going on, because, you know, you've got the electric cars, but now the electric cars, I mean, they still take the power from dirty power stations, people could say. So, you know, although you're plugging it in at your home, you don't see any emissions there. There are emissions at the power station.
Not that you could plug it in at home, but...
Yeah, exactly. And there's also a shortage of electricity. So, you know, I think the fuel cell is really the way to go, even though we see in South Africa, infrastructure now is being planned for the electric car. Being the custodians of all the platinum, we should be setting up the hydrogen you know, infrastructure. Why are we so slow? I mean, people have been talking about it for so long. How come has the UK beaten us to it? How come is Japan beating us to it? How come is California beating us to it? You know, everyone's beating the South Africans to it. We've done nothing about that proper marketing here. But never mind, it is happening. Hopefully it will come here. But there seems like there could be some sort of infrastructure turf war, you know, between the electric car vehicles and the platinum-powered vehicles, as I say, the fuel cell powered vehicles. We should win that. I mean, when I say we, I mean the platinum body should win this, because we create no emissions at all. The only co-product is water. So it's absolutely zero. And there is a cost factor, I suppose, that will have to come into it. But, you know, the more of these cars you build, the more of the decentralized little power stations you build, the less you're going to pay for them. They're going to come down in price, no doubt, through the volume, as it always happens. Electric cars have got a bit of a start. Battery-driven cars have got a bit of a start, but I think they could be quickly overtaken when people realize the value of these platinum-driven vehicles through the fuel cell.
Now, what are the main benefits of a fuel cell-driven car as opposed to a battery-driven car?
Yeah, you know, you can see that the claims being made by Hyundai in connection with this vehicle, the iX35 fuel cell vehicles,
which is a big 4x4.
And it's they building. By the end of this year, they should have built 1,000 of these in the UK. So it's a fair start. And you can see Toyota, you know, raising capital to do more with the fuel cell vehicles. Honda coming in, you know, and even some German cars wanting to come in. And then, you know, you also saw, as you were asking me in that previous question, which I sort of overlooked, is that Europe, if they go for this alone, the estimate is that by 2050, the demand for that platinum will be about 6.6 million ounces.
Wow.
You know, which that's just Europe alone. Can you imagine
And that's
the
just
rest?
on fuel cells.
And that's just on fuel cells. So it's got a tremendous opportunity for platinum miners. They've really got to throw everything into the marketing of this. And you can see that there are tremendous advantages, because if you look on that Hyundai 1X35 fuel cell car, it's got a range of about 594 kilometers. And that's quite a big range. You know, one of the restrictions of these battery-driven vehicles is the range. And also, it's like a normal petrol-driven car in terms of speed. So that's another thing. And, you know, they say it takes about 3 minutes to charge. And there are no, you know, harmful emissions at all.
Yeah.
So it seems like something people should really go for. But in the meantime, you know, you've got a fellow South African with Tesla. He's also bringing out the lithium battery with his electric cars, and a lot of other electric cars on the go. In South Africa, as I said, you know, they're looking for infrastructure for electric cars. You'd think they would definitely have been ahead of the game with regard to hydrogen power cars, and I hope that they do get that hydrogen infrastructure in place. Because when I used to speak to Cecil about this, because this debate has been going on for so long, you know, I used to say to Cecil, hey, what about your local petrol area? What are you going to do with it? No problem. You know, our petrol from coal, it's got no sulfur in. You can just put it in and get the hydrogen from the fuel.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can have a reformer in your car. So, you know, it seems like they haven't sort of even taken into account that you can use a lot of existing infrastructure, which they should have been interrogating. You know, in South Africa particularly, we've got Sasol, that the fuel that you get from coal is particularly clean. So it lends itself to this. And they've always maintained that they could fit into this quite easily. So do we really need all the infrastructure, or can there be a reformer in your car? That's open to debate. There are a lot of technical details that are still got to be spelled out. But I'm glad that, you know, the Asian car manufacturers particularly have really got a head start on this. And they need to be supported. We see that the Anglo-American is driving around in Hyundai iX35 fuel vehicles at the moment, handed over. So obviously they're working together, and that's good to see.
When can we get one?
Well, you know, this is the question. When do they come down to South Africa? You know, the place of platinum.
Yeah.
We should have been the first to be driving around this, especially since we've spoken about it for so long. But I suppose that when it comes to, you know, car builders, they're going to do something from scratch. They want a lot of support. Being like in a central position like London might be the place to start and to spread out from there. But hopefully we get a slice of the action.
Hopefully. Thank you very much, Martin.
Great pleasure, Shannon.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on South Africa's mining industry.